Another Chamber of Commerce day in Seattle up here in the Pacific Northwest. The Sox are trying to even the series against the Mariners after a close loss in last night's opener. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you, and the Sox lineup gets a little bit of a boost today, and maybe a big boost after Avi Garcia comes back. He was 23 for his last 69 when he went on the DL.
It'll be nice to see him have the same home run stroke he had, because 8 home runs in 13 games before he went down, and hopefully the rhythm will still be there because he was hitting everything in sight. This was in Cincinnati, took 2 into the upper deck in the same ball game, and he also likes to hit in this ballpark. So hopefully he can add some offense to this team that desperately needs some, and Avi didn't have any problem with a launch angle when he was in Houston. So he was certainly taking care of everything he had to take care of, but you can't really foresee injuries. He's had that twice. Hopefully that's behind him.
Guy who he faces today, and the Sox do as a group, is the former Cy Young winner, Felix Hernandez.
King Felix coming back off the disabled list, and he's thrown very well against our Sox over the course of his career. He is over 500 against him, and these days he doesn't have the big fastball anymore. At home, just 4-4 with an ERA up close to 4. This is a guy with a great straight change. He's always used that very well. And coming back off the DL, hopefully his stuff will be a little rusty, because when he's at his best, he's good. His ERA 3.76 against our Sox. Dylan Covey's really fallen on hard times the last 5 starts at ERA up over 11. So hopefully he gets the split change down. Hopefully that fastball will have some location tonight, and he'll break this streak.
Low-scoring game last night, 3-1 in favor of Seattle, including a late run for the Mariners. But maybe, as you said, it's Avi Garcia who turns the table, considering his big day here last year in May. See if he can duplicate it. Coming up.
That's a catfish. Jason can't be around that.
No, I can. I just can't eat it. Can't wipe my hands on my face.
I'll wipe my hands on your face.
That is.
Trusted Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
If you come to Seattle, you have to, at least once, go down to Pike Place Market and watch, or make the effort to catch a fish. If you want to, you can go down there, try and make a grab, play pepper with the fish. It's always a great time. Fresh seafood, great laughs, and Safeco Field not far away as the Mariners make their home here for just about the 20th season. Opened in 1999 in July. One of the real jewels of Major League Baseball, Safeco Field. As we now tell you about the starting lineup for the White Sox, and it's brought to you by the Webb Auto Group, the best lineup of Chevy Sports, Mitsubishis, Genesis, and Hyundais at the best price. Go to webcars.com. Okada back at the top of the card, then Sanchez and Abreu, Palka, Garcia, and the hot-hitting Omar Narvaez, Garcia, Delmonico, and Anderson.
Defensive setup for the Mariners presented by UI Health, and this is how Scott Service is going to run them out there tonight with Span, Gamel, and Henniger in the outfield left to right. Then it's Seager, Segura, Gordon, and Vogelback in the infield. David Freitas behind the plate, and our Lexus Experience Amazing starting pitcher is King Felix. Felix Hernandez looking for his 9th win. His ERA a touch over 5, just back off the disabled list with a bad lower back. Right now he would like something from the dugout, which is unusual for a starting pitcher to walk all the way back in. But apparently it's very important to his health and well-being for this outing here tonight. The umpires for the game this evening: Jordan Baker has the plate, Tom Woodring is at first, Vic Carapaza at second, and the crew chief Jerry Lane is at third base. So Felix now has everything straightened out.
Looked like a mouth guard that he needed. You ever wear a mouth guard on the mound?
I did not.
Want to think about wearing one on the air?
I would think that would be a good thing. There is the King's Court. They used to cheer vociferously for strikeouts. These days, they're looking for ground balls out of King Felix.
To Yoan Moncada for strike one. And we are still on time. 9:10 your time if you're in Chicago. 7:10 our time here out in the Pacific time zone. As Moncada, who homered against Hernandez back on April the 25th, will not this time. Vogelback on the dive, and he's out. Moncada head first into the bag and one away.
Yeah, hopefully he takes that one out of his repertoire, because that makes zero sense. And you open yourself up to a season-ending injury. You're not going to beat him to the bag that way. And you do run the risk of jamming your finger, separating your shoulder, or having a wrist or elbow injury, which happens on occasion when guys try to dive to beat the play at first.
You sounded like the side effects in a drug commercial there. You may
experience one or many of these side effects for diving head first into first base when there is no tag being applied.
One down for Sanchez, who had a couple of hits yesterday and sprays this ball to center field, where Ben Gamble roams for out number 2.
This is the big difference in Felix Hernandez these days, because Seattle told him they don't want him to get up to 93 or 94 miles an hour anymore, because at 89 to 91 that fastball moves. So you see the type of pitches he throws. The curve has become his second best pitch. He's throwing that a whole lot these days. He didn't throw it much the last few years, but now it's become a big weapon for him under Scott Service, the manager, who just got an extension. Scott's done a terrific job here, and they recognized it by extending him.
Well, you remember when we chatted with him in the past, he is very heavy on making sure that the culture is a positive one at all times. And that was something that Jerry DiPoto mentioned when he was talking about the extension for Scott Service, is what type of clubhouse culture he's created, as you hear so much about.
Well, the one thing that he tried to do was keep it as loose as possible. As you can see, he's been a winning manager, and this is his third year. And he and Jerry DiPoto were very good friends before they ever were GM and manager together.
1-2 on Abreu, who was 0 for 4 yesterday. Jose has not seen Felix very well in the past, at 2 for 16 in his career.
Tried to stay over the top with a fastball, but it didn't quite get there.
You mentioned he's thrown the changeup quite a bit this year. He's thrown the curveball even more than the changeup, but at 2 strikes, they expect the changeup. That's what he throws predominantly to get people out this year. 2-2. Breaking ball. Abreu in the air to center field. That's a 1-2-3 8-pitch inning for Felix Hernandez, turning it over to Dylan Covey. At the top, Gordon was 4 for 4 yesterday. Bottom three changed though. Gamble, Vogelback, and Freitas are in.
Defensive setup for our Sox presented by UI Health, and this is how Ricky Renteria is going to put them out there. With Nicky, Leary, and Abasil in the outfield, and it's Yolmer, Tim, Yohan, and Jose in the infield with Omar Narvaez behind the plate, and our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is Dylan Covey on for his 12th start, his ERA at 5.69.
He pitched here last year. He went 6 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs. He walked 3, struck out 1, but one of his better starts in 2017. And one of the keys for him today has to be the second time through the order, maintaining the momentum we've seen the first time through.
Well, he can go a long way toward holding this team scoreless by keeping Gordon off base.
He did right there on 3 pitches with an uncomfortable strike 3, 1 down.
Something that was not accomplished at all last night is accomplished in the early going, and that is taking down D. Gordon.
Don't think he saw that pitch very well.
No, and hopefully that continues.
1 down for Segura, who was 2 for 2 in the All-Star game. And this boomerang lollipop to first for out number 2. So Dylan Covey, first and second time through the order. Let's compare and contrast. First time through, 239 average, 341 second time. Slugging percentage is up about 100 points.
It's usually not particularly advisable to go deep into the ball game if you have numbers like that the second time through.
So if you're Dylan Covey and you rely on that two-seam fastball so much, how do you rectify that?
You continue to throw the same pitches, but make sure that the concentration is there with each and every pitch. Because look, a sinker baller is going to throw sinkers and he's going to live and die with that. And when Dylan is right, he's a supreme sinker baller. First 5 or 6 starts, he was leading the league in percentage of ground ball outs. Then after the disabled list, coming back, the velocity has been pretty close to what it was. The movement hasn't been the same. And that's been the biggest problem. He's not throwing as many ground balls.
He had a run of 5 straight starts between May 23rd and June 13th. He gave up 5 earned runs combined in those 5 starts.
It was unbelievable. The stuff was so good and the movement was so late that guys consistently hit the top of the baseball. They weren't making much contact, and when they did, they were beating it into the ground.
That one sinks out of the zone. 3 balls and a strike on the very dangerous Mitch Haniger.
He's got some big power to the opposite field. And he showed us in spring training that he was probably going to be here to stay, and that's how it's worked out.
That's a strike. Haniger is going to have to return from whence he came.
Lower reaches of the strike zone. I mean, the way lower reaches of the strike zone.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a reach.
Well,
in the lower reaches.
Gotta have those every now and then.
That one is not a strike. It's ball 4. And Nelson Cruz will bat as we tell you what you're going to see in tonight's telecast of White Sox baseball. Eloy Jimenez with a monster night. Question is, which night are we talking about, considering what he's done? Joey Wendell, a beautiful play that you've got to see. And then Wilson Alvarez in White Sox history, among other things. It's a big day in White Sox history and Major League history involving this game, as the Mariners 30 years ago got one of their cornerstone outfielders of the 90s. Frank Costanza's favorite player.
Jay Buhner.
Yes, indeed. For Ken Phelps.
Wow. Yeah. Remember George airing out George Steinbrenner for that trade.
Jerry, it's Frank. George is dead. Call me back. Had a rocket for an arm, what I've heard.
He did that.
There's a swing and a miss for Cruz. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Meantime, you got to keep your eye on Haniger. He does not run often, but he stole his 6th base of the year last night. That was the game plan that they had with Omar behind the plate, was run just about every chance they got.
With the crucial exception at points of D. Gordon, didn't you think?
I think one of the reasons is he's got a toe issue, and he probably wasn't feeling quite 100%.
Sanchez gives a little ground, fields the ball, and has out number 3. The 2-out walk does no harm, and we will play the 2nd inning scoreless from beautiful Seattle.
As you enjoy a Miller Lite, look forward to the Hold True moment later in tonight's game.
Beautiful night in Seattle. That shirt says Apocalypse Meow. I love the smell of catnip in the morning.
Very nice.
I know you love dogs.
I do.
How do you feel about cats?
I'm pro cat.
You are?
Yeah. Absolutely, especially the big ones.
Like ocelots and lynx?
Give me a cheetah. That's nice. They can run fast. I like that. It's tattoo night here. You come in, you have a tattoo, they give you another one.
Bring one, get one?
Yeah.
I think Freitas has something of a mitt issue. Oh, and 2 on Polka. One ball and 2 strikes to Daniel, whose 12 home runs are tied for 3rd among rookies in Major League Baseball.
He went very hard last night, but it stayed in the ballpark. He hit it over Heredia's head in center field, and he's a very good center fielder. If he couldn't get it, probably wasn't going to be gotten to.
Wide of first and foul. Well, Seattle comes in 59 and 39. An opening play today, 4 games up on Oakland in the American League West, but it looks as though the A's have bolstered their bullpen with Jeurys Familia coming over. There's some voltage in the back end of that bullpen nowadays in Oakland.
There is that. Trinan is really a great closer, so everybody that's added to that team is added just to get the ball to Trinan.
Strike 3, down and away. 1 down. Now Avisail Garcia takes on the Mariners tonight by AARP. Career against the Mariners for Avi, a .364 average, slugging .636.
He certainly enjoys when the Mariners either come to town or we go to Seattle, which is where this particular game is being played. You might be able to tell by the white uniform that King Felix is wearing.
And/or the Space Needle in the background.
That could be it also.
CenturyLink Field, where the Seahawks and Sounders play.
Sounders do a pretty good crowd for their game.
We were in the press box a couple hours before game time here, and you could hear the crowd cheering. 41,000 plus for their match against Vancouver this afternoon. The MLS team here. It's bonkers when Portland comes to town.
Well, it was a rout. It was what, 1-0?
2-0 today. Vancouver
Whew.
lost.
That's a bonanza of scoring.
I can tell you're a huge soccer aficionado. 1-2 on Avi, who was 18 for his last 47 when he went on the DL.
That straight change that Felix throws drops straight down. It looks like it's a splitter. It's not. It is his version of the straight change. It's always been very good. And these days, it's getting a little bit better.
Strike three. Back-to-back punch-outs for Hernandez.
2 straight changes in a row. This one at 86. The bottom falls out. Avi swings over the top.
Well, you've got Felix Hernandez sitting at 89 on the fastball, so it's more movement than anything on the changeup, not the difference in speeds, right?
No, well, he's thrown that changeup in the mid 80s and throwing his fastball 89 or 90, so there's not that much of a disparity, but it is the late movement on that pitch. And the fact is, if your changeup is going to be effective, you still have to throw it out at the same release point as your fastball, and Felix Hernandez is able to do that. So you can't read it out of his hand, which that's half the battle.
You're a hitter, you're standing there. How much different of a release point do you have to see in order for you to recognize that the pitch is different?
Any release point at all. If you're going to vary, and he can discern the fact that you are varying on the straight change, it's even a couple of inches make that much of a difference. As soon as he sees the arm angle change, that's when he keeps his hand back. He might be able to go forward with his foot. As long as you keep your hands back, you're going to be able to get something into the swing. If a pitcher can get you both to move your foot and move your hands at all, then he's defeated you, and your best bolt is a looping single. That's at the very best, but more times than not, he's going to get you out.
1-2 on Narvaez. And that one tails away. The crowd was mystified by Freitas's grab. They thought it was strike three. It was not.
No, that one well off the plate. This man very close in left field over toward the line.
Because Omar is very willing to spray the ball that direction.
Well, especially when he's in defensive swing mode, which he is now. More times than not, that's when he will take the ball to left and left center field.
And by the way, Omar, in this spate of offense he's had, he's hit the ball very hard. These are not dunk hits to left field.
No, he's also started to pull the ball as the infield would register, because they're playing him as a dead pull hitter in the infield, and in the outfield they're playing him as an off-field hitter.
You see the direction of outfield hits for Omar. 18 to the pull side, which is not what you would have expected coming into this season. Breaking ball outside. First base runner for the Sox is Narvaez on a 2-out walk. Saturday, August 11th, come celebrate Jim Thome Day when the Sox take on the Cleveland Indians. First 20,000 fans to enter the ballpark get a Jim Thome Hall of Fame bobblehead presented by Wintrust. There was a great story in the Peoria newspaper today, which was originally published all the way back in 1988 about Jim Thome. And it was a story about him and his two brothers who were older, and he had this legacy, Jim did, to live up to when he was a kid. And it was about how his brothers used to knock him around on the basketball court, and he learned kind of rough growing up how to be tough on the court. And the story at one point says basically it looks like baseball might be in his future.
I would think that would be pretty accurate.
They may have undersold it just a little bit. In his hometown, Tommy said, at that point I was 5'7" and I was at the very end of the bench of my freshman team. So he grew to 6'2", 180 in just a couple of years in high school when he finally filled out and became the Hall of Famer that he will be very soon. He broke his collarbone too playing basketball in high school. Didn't know that. One of the truly classy guys in our game.
And boy, could he hit. And he could hit him a long way, as far to the opposite field as anybody we've ever seen.
There's strike three. Ball gets away. Freitas to first. The stretch is there. Vogelback reels it in for out number 3. Speaking of, catch a big one.
Chicago, presented by Chick-fil-A. Join Ozzie Guillen, David DeJesus, and Layla Rahimi as they break down the biggest stories surrounding the White Sox and the Cubs. That's Monday at 6:30 on NBC Sports Chicago.
We have a very special birthday wish to deliver.
You do?
We do, together.
Okay. I'm ready.
And I hope he's not asleep yet.
That could very well be.
His dad probably is. Our director, Todd Benjaminson. It is Owen Benjaminson's birthday. He is 7 years old. He's a huge Sox fan. He got a new video game system today. He's pumped. He's probably doing cannonballs into the pool. So happy birthday, Owen. We hope you're awake. If you're not, you can watch it on MLB.tv.
That's a good plan. And in a couple years, Daddy's going to buy you a car, Owen. So enjoy yourself.
Todd, that's the risk you run with birthday wishes here on White Sox telecasts. 2-1 on Seager from Covey. He's 7.
True, but you can never have too many autos.
2 balls and a strike. That one ran over the inside corner. Borderline pitch. He got the call. Covey did. 2-2.
When Dylan is right, that's a pretty good pitch for him. He'll throw it right at the hip of the left-hand hitter. They'll give up on it, and then it comes back over the corner. That is the man they named Edgar Martinez way after.
Mel Stottlemyre.
Close. Very close.
2-2 lifted foul left side. They've done a really nice job. They have a Hall of Fame here in the stadium, but they've done a really nice job honoring those iconic guys in this franchise, which only dates back to the mid to late 70s. So that generation with Edgar Martinez and Alex Rodriguez and Jay Buhner, among others, Randy Johnson certainly.
Ken Griffey.
Noted White Sox great, Ken Griffey Jr.
There he is.
That swing.
What a player he was.
That swing was just a beauty.
It was.
Three and two for Seager. Popped up third base side. Sanchez chopping his steps into foul ground for out number one. White Sox fans, join us for Country Music Night as the Sox take on the Blue Jays Friday, July 27th at 7:10 p.m. Be sure to stay after the game for a post-game fireworks show presented by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling. To get your tickets, visit whitesox.com for that game just 6 days away against the Jays.
Denard Span, who has not been bunting a whole lot lately. But you can't tell that to Yomer because Yomer is in on the grass just in case he decides that this would be a perfect time to lay one down.
Breaks in there for a strike to Span, who spent time with Minnesota and Washington and Tampa Bay, among others, and now here in Seattle, where he's been a major contributor since coming over.
They had some outfield injuries, and he helped fill the void.
You know, Dee Gordon, who had to play that makeshift center field, they got him essentially to test him out in center. Then he has to move to second base because of the suspension of Cano, and Span has filled the gap out there nicely.
Span's always hit well against our Sox, as that graphic would illustrate. That one just misses the inside part of the plate. Well, you'd expect that Jerry Dipoto would be very busy as we head closer to the trading deadline because he has been a very busy general manager since he took the helm here.
Yeah, he's not asleep at the switch. Nobody could ever accuse him of that. And considering what the teams around him are doing in the AL West, with Oakland making a move today, and you'd imagine Houston would do something. You've got to not only take yourself into account, but what everyone else is doing too, right?
Well, Houston has to help their bullpen. That's a must for them. That's something that I'm pretty sure you're going to see them do. And with that, in talking with a lot of the people around here, they're saying that Jerry Dipoto probably is going to go after both some bullpen help and, for them, a 4 quality starting pitcher, a guy that can eat up some innings. They're not going to put him into the rotation necessarily, but they will use him to save some innings for some of their other 5 starters.
Moncada at second base has out number 2. So 3 ground balls and a pop up to third base, along with a strikeout for Kobe so far.
So far, things going very well. The stuff is good tonight, and the fastball is as crisp as it ever was. So the fastball's at 95. He's been staying there consistently, and he's throwing some ground balls again. They got Gamble from the Yankees, and they believe that he's going to be an everyday player. However, they don't think necessarily it's going to be in center field, where he's okay. He's probably better suited for a corner, but he can swing the bat.
Up the middle, Anderson's got a long way to go in one motion. Got him! Oh, Gamble got aced by Tim Anderson. Number 7 goes roving to finish off the second inning. last night. Eloy Jimenez curveball. It's been fun. That ball has other plans. Second one, fastball. Not a real great plan either. So 2 homers for Eloy Jimenez, and what he did as an encore today was go 3 for 4 against the AAA Pirates of Indianapolis. 5-4 the Knights with the victory, and Eloy Jimenez's batting average is up to .342 in AAA.
Well, he's figured out something. If he can stay healthy, he can hit. So if he's not on the disabled list, he'll hit. And I think he'll hit anywhere, including in the major leagues.
You kind of get the feeling he had that figured out very early on in life. I mean, he is just a specimen, not only physically, but mentally as well.
I think that he has already voiced the opinion that he wants to be the best hitter in baseball. And I think all he has to do is get consistent help.
Change up for strike 3. Delmonico is the 4th strikeout for Felix Hernandez. And Tim Anderson will bat.
He's come back off the DL, and he's made a determination that the changeup tonight is his best pitch. He will use the curveball to set up the change, but he works quickly. He's got a good rhythm. He wants to keep it and pretty much gets the ball and throws it.
Tim Anderson takes a strike at 90 on the corner. You know, there's been some talk that if the Mariners made the playoffs, there's an outside chance that Felix Hernandez, depending on the way he ends this year, might not make the playoff roster. But if he's going to pitch like this, that's not going to be a question.
No, I'm pretty sure that they're going to like his experience as they move into postseason play.
Mariners have the longest playoff drought in the sport. 2001, the last time they made the postseason. For his career, a .328 ERA.
And take a look at that. 168, 121. 47 games over 500. I would say that's awfully good.
His stuff is really good tonight. 5 strikeouts. When you look at career earned run average leaders in Mariners jerseys, that's a little bit of a surprise that Randy Johnson would be number 4. Felix Hernandez, at least it was to me. Felix is number 1 in franchise history.
Well, the thing with Randy Johnson is when he got here from Montreal, he didn't have his great control. It was starting to get good, but it wasn't near as good as it was to be later in his career. So it's not all that surprising because he was a guy who couldn't get the ball anywhere near the plate when he was with the Expos. Then coming over here, it started out exactly that way, and he started to get better. Then he made that trip to Houston, where for half a season he was about 10-1, something along those lines. And then, of course, he started on his Hall of Fame career and made the rounds, but was wonderfully successful wherever he went.
One of the best rentals in Major League history.
He was pretty good. He was very good.
There's Moncada and what he likely will do from the left-hand side. He's a pull-side hitter on the infield. We were talking about this in the pregame with Chuck. Ran a little data mining last night. Moncada with 2 strikes this year. 2 strikes on pitches either out of the zone or on the edges of the strike zone. He's only with 2 strikes. Has been called out on strike 3 32 times on pitches either out of the zone or on the fringe, basically on the fence. He's been fairly unlucky in spots like this. As he swings through strike 3, it was close, and Hernandez has 6 consecutive strikeouts for outs. We'll hear from Ricky Renteria about the old building that Safeco replaced after this. Ricky, what's one thing about playing in the Kingdome that people who never played in it wouldn't know?
Well, obviously when it's sunny outside, you don't get that beautiful Seattle sunshine. It was a little sterile, you know. The carpet was a little tough. But you know what? When the fans showed up, it was a great place to play. Very enjoyable. The fans are very supportive, as everybody can see right now. It's a great city to be a part of, and was a great city to be a part of at that time. And you know, playing the Dome was just a little different. You know, it's enclosed, and obviously they have a beautiful open roof and the ability to close it when the weather's not as convenient as they'd like. And so good for them. They've continued to move on.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Ricky Renteria's thoughts on the Kingdome. He spent portions of a couple years with Seattle. Played for Dick Williams at the Kingdome. A very straightforward man, as Ricky said.
Kingdome was fun to pitch in.
Yeah?
Not particularly a lot of fun to play in, but I enjoyed pitching in it.
Looked a little dingy inside.
It was a little gray, yeah.
That's strike three. You've said it before. Lefties will give up on that pitch, and Vogelback did.
Yeah, that one had good movement. This is reminiscent of the first few starts that Dylan threw, where everything was moving, and you see this ball gets the whole plate. Vogelback knew that he was just outguessed, and a very powerful left-hand hitter goes down on strikes, and he's looking at him as if you're not supposed to make the ball do that. But that one moved late and moved perfectly.
One down for Freitas. He was 15 for 76 in the majors this year as the Mariners await the return of Mike Zunino.
He won't be back for this series, but they're hoping he's going to be back in the not-too-distant future. He hurt his leg running the bases. He's been in AAA rehabbing, and they could use him back, especially the second half of last year's Zunino.
To third, Sanchez, tough hop. He corrals it and has out number two. Nicely done by Yolmer.
Well, Yolmer knew that if he waited back, this one had a tendency to probably hop higher than he would want. And even though Freitas is a catcher, he didn't want to leave it to chance. So he came in, smothered the short hop, and was able to make the play. This is a do or die play. It either sticks in the glove or he's aboard. As it turned out, it stuck in the glove.
Nice to see Zach Galifianakis at the ballgame.
It's a quality beard.
High-level beard.
Yes.
Evidently beard night.
It's a beard within a beard.
Ball and a strike on Gordon. So now we'll see if Dylan Covey can maneuver through the second time through the order as cleanly as he did the first time through. No hits, one walk.
Just a walk to Haniger. That was it. The only blemish on the record.
To shortstop, Anderson slings it over, and Tim has had a very nice night at shortstop. Covey gets a sharp ground ball. Anderson makes the play. brought to you by T-Mobile. Felix Hernandez averaging 7.5 strikeouts per 9 this year. His season high is 7 strikeouts in any game. He's got 6 so far through 3.
I like his chances for this one.
You do?
Yeah. That stuff tonight is really good. His changeup is in the zone. It's consistently down, and it's consistently moving. You don't get many nights where it's like that.
You almost have to feel like a wizard out there. What does it feel like when you know your pitches are above where you even typically see them rest?
That's one of the nights where you don't have to think at all, and it's rare that you can do that on the mound, but you just pretty much go into cruise control because everything you're throwing finds the exact spot you're thinking about. It doesn't happen very much. When it happens, it's just a pleasure to be out there, and the only thing I can liken it to is putting a car in cruise control, because you're not doing anything, you're not having to make any adjustments. You're just thinking about a spot. Whatever you're thinking about throwing goes to that spot.
So far tonight, Felix Hernandez has thrown 11 changeups. 8 have resulted in swinging strikes. How about that?
Well, that's a testament to the fact that everything has been down, because you're not going to get swinging strikes if it's in the strike zone, and the best changeups are out of the zone.
Center field, first hit tonight is Yolmer Sanchez on 2 strikes. Here's your Sox Math question for tonight. Hashtag Sox Math. First correct answer wins a prize from the road. Number of base runners Philip Humber allowed here on April 21st, 2012, plus the jersey number of the player who homered for the Sox that day. John, our stage manager, is playing with Josh, our audio guy, in the booth. They're trying to come up with the answer together.
I have to recuse myself.
Were you here?
I was actually in Seattle.
Right, but you weren't at the game because it was a Fox show.
That was a nationally televised game. How about that?
How was the golf course?
It was actually pretty nice, as I can recall. Felix tried to sneak a fastball by Yolmer, and he dumped it into center field. That puts an end to the streak.
You did play-by-play for Liriano's?
Yes,
right?
I did.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
It was pretty interesting. And then did the Mark Burley perfect game.
Yep.
And that was a magnificent game.
2-0. And that hits Abreu. So 2 on, nobody out.
Jose Abreu hit for the 8th time this year. That leads the team in that dubious department. You're going to get hit with a floater, and that's exactly what that one was.
He's now top 20 in baseball in hit by pitches. Or would you say hits by pitch?
I would say plunked. A ceremonious plunking. It's probably a little easier.
Here's Polka. Line to second base, could be 2. And it's not.
Would have been, but Gordon could not get the ball out of the glove. So try as he might, he knew the double play was staring him right in the face as Yolmer had strayed off the bag. And Gordon could not make the play. That is a huge break. Not a good base running play, and then the shot put over to second didn't work.
D. Gordon looked kind of like the guy at the bowling alley who goes down the lane with the ball.
Not much you can do. You're trapped. You can't get the ball out of your glove. So you can see the double play developing, and then not so much.
Off the bat, by the way, at 109 miles an hour.
Daniel can hit him. When he hits them, they're hit hard.
Center field. Gamble driven back. He's at the warning track. It is gone. Welcome back, Avi Garcia. Here we go again. 3-0 Sox.
Avi's hit double figures. That's his 10th home run. He's now driven in 20. He seemingly hit that ball with one hand. Gives you an idea just how strong he is. A Ford home run replay. That's a changeup. And he reaches out. He pretty much knows it's gone when it left the bat. Gamble took off, but Park's not going to hold it.
And with that home run, another generous donation from the Alex Snellius family in loving memory of Ursula. And Avisail Garcia, when he's been healthy this year, he has been a destructive force in this lineup.
Well, that's 9 home runs in his last 14 games. That's one of those streaks that you just dream about.
This one vaulted to left center. Gamble on the run. Omar gives it a ride to the wall, and Narvaez on for the second time. So, as mystifying as King Felix has been in the first time through tonight, he has been that hittable the second time.
It all started with a fastball. He tried to sneak by Yomer, and it's led to 3 runs and a runner in scoring position as this ball taken as far as this ballpark will allow it and stay in the park. High off the wall in left center. Gamble does a nice job on the carom, but can't get it back in time. So meeting at the mound, and Felix is trying to settle down somewhat.
Avi doing a little pad work. One of 3 hits in the inning.
Mills Stottlemyre went to the mound to have his say-so. Even the out this inning was a blast off the bat of Daniel Polka.
That one's way inside, and it knocks Garcia down. So the last 3 balls hit by the Sox, 109, 108.7, and 99.4 off the bat. Outside 2-0.
So all of a sudden, everything that Felix hit on the first 3 innings, he can't get it in the zone this inning.
I think if you're sitting at home, one of the questions you're asking is, how can that possibly happen?
No rhyme or reason to why it does. You just seemingly lose it. It can happen with just 1 pitch. And it did.
Roped to right field by Garcia and down. Omar waved around third, and he's going to get home after the juggle. But at second base, Garcia is out. The Sox do get a run, and the bases are empty.
You would think that'll go as a single run batted in. If it does, it'll be the 22nd for Liuri. And then it goes 8-6 on the throw in, and throwing out Liuri at second base. Omar was not going to score. He didn't read it very well at first. He didn't know where Gamble set up, and so he hesitated between second and third. Then when the ball got away from Gamble, he scored easily, but they cut down Liuri at second base. So it does go E8 and no run batted in.
Four 4-0 Sox. And 2 down in the inning. To second base, Gordon's in front of it, and that will do it. However, the Sox put up 4 in the 4th. Avi Garcia with more thunder in his welcome back game in Seattle. Tim Anderson playing the drums. Guaranteed Rate, your trusted teammate throughout the mortgage process. Experience the difference today at rate.com.
So I come back after a nice All-Star break to find you diseased. How did this happen?
You know, sometimes you get a cold. That happens.
Yeah, but you sound like Doc Holliday in Tombstone toward the end.
Well,
not the good Doc Holliday, the one at the end.
A couple of days before the second half started, I sounded like one of Marge Simpson's sisters, so we're in way better shape than we could have been. Back toward us and just short. Might be a sun issue right now.
There is very much a sun issue. Not for anybody else but the hitter, and perhaps Omar. That's how it should be all the time, I believe.
Just a bright light in the face of the hitter?
Yeah. Make it really challenging.
Dear Mr. Commissioner, one way to keep scoring down is to shine a beam of light at anybody with a bat.
There you go.
On the ground to third, Sanchez wins the battle, but not the war. That ball sprung away, and Segura is on.
It is an E5, and Yolmer had, I think, a little more time than he thought. The ball was hit so hard that when it bounced up, Yolmer rushed the throw, and Jose's been really good at digging balls out of the dirt, but not this time as it bounds away. Yolmer does a nice job of staying in front, playing it off his chest, and then the ball just thrown into the dirt, takes the high kick over the glove of Jose, and Segura winds up at second.
You know, he's been such an accurate thrower from the line at third. When he steps into it, that one he flat-footed, as you said. And Segura on for Haniger. There's a strike to Haniger. Downstairs, a ball and a strike. Haniger off his first ever All-Star game. He has been a big-time late-game hitter for the Mariners this year and a major power bat in this order. Former first-round pick. 38th overall in 2012 by the Brewers. Same year, Carlos Correa went to the Astros, and Mike Zunino was selected by Seattle. Up and in, trimmed his beard, 2-1.
That one at 96 got close, and Haniger able to get out of the way. It's supposed to be an inside fastball. It was not quite that far inside, however. Don Cooper looking over his clicker to see how many pitches have been thrown.
The always serene Don Cooper, except for when he's not.
Except for when he's asking the umpire, was that low? Was that pitch low? Yes, Don, it was.
Ricky Renteria's impersonation of Coop when
Pretty
he was
good.
gone was pretty good. Segura at second, 3-1 to Haniger. Fouled it away at 96, middle, 3-2.
Yeah, he got the fastball he wanted. It was right down the middle, and contrary to belief, all mistakes aren't hit. A lot of them are, but occasionally you're able to get away, and Dylan got away with one there.
One walk, 2 strikeouts for Covey so far. Just 2 base runners on 3-2. And that's fouled off. Looked like it might have clipped Baker on the way by.
Yeah, I think it got a piece of him as Omar looked back, make sure he's okay.
5 full counts for Covey already tonight. Check swing. No go. Ball 4. Haniger's walked twice. So the Sox preyed on Hernandez second time through. We'll see if Covey can repel this Mariners rally before it really starts.
Well, if you can just get the ball hit on the ground, this is a wonderful man for 2. The problem is he's got an uppercut swing. He's always been a prolific home run hitter, and he's got big power to all fields. So although he doesn't run well these days, he's only grounded to 10 double plays this year in just under 300 at bats. That's not all that bad.
Runner goes, throw to third, in time. Segura cut down, and no advancement from Haniger at first.
Omar noticed he was going. He took his time on the throw, and he got off a pretty good one. Nice tag, quick tag by Yolmer at third base, and he cuts him down. And you try not to make the first out at third base.
Well, especially when you have 2 on, nobody out, and the pitcher's been recently erratic.
Yes, it was not well thought out.
Anderson, Moncada on 1 hop, and he does secure out number 2.
Tim that time was retreating and couldn't get a whole lot into the throw. Nice job by Yohan picking that ball out of the dirt and then bobbling it, but having the presence of mind to not think about 2. At that point, you just have to corral the ball and think about 1. Tim has to back up on this one, force himself to, doesn't get anything in the throw, and Yohan does a nice job after the bobble of securing the baseball and getting the out.
Well, Tim was thinking about 2, and he knew his only chance was for Moncada to rescue a ball in the dirt.
You can get out of this one without allowing a run. You will have done a job, and a very good one.
Yeah, it's a disappearing act if you go 2 on, nobody out with Cruz at the plate. Still have a shutout at the end of the 4th. Oh, 1. Way behind at 95, 0-2.
Be a good time here for one of those fastballs. He's thrown him one away. Be a good time to throw that right hip fastball. Maybe you can get him frozen on it. He's been looking away a couple of pitches. We'll look in at Omar. That is the inside fastball. That's the one we were just talking about. Let's see if he can shave off the inside corner.
Outside. Looked like Omar at first called for it in, then wanted it up.
That's what it was. He called for the inside fastball, then set up and away, which is kind of unusual. So we'll look in. That is the breaking ball.
Swing and a miss for strike 3. So Covey tiptoes through trouble in the 4th and maintains the donut 4-zip. Sox Math winner for you. It is Mitchell Winkle. No base runners allowed by Philip Umber, April 21st, 2012. It was a perfecto. And the home run for the Sox that day was Paul Konerko's, number 14. 0 plus 14 equals 14. And that is your Sox Math answer for today.
That was your luxury liner pulling back in.
Not mine.
Looked very similar to the one that you've commandeered. And the C's were angry that day, my friend, I will tell you that.
Yeah, they certainly were. If people had to wager which one of us owned a large boat, I don't think I would have won.
I'm not a man of much water.
You're not?
No.
You're not a mariner?
Not so much.
To third Seager for round number 1. Let's relive Philip Umber's perfect game. The Mariners had a Felix Hernandez gem later this season, but the final 3 outs, Justin Smoke, down he goes. Check swing, he went around, strike 3, throw to first, perfecto. Philip Umber, out of nowhere.
Would have been really interesting if, instead of arguing, the last man would have actually run and probably beat that play at first base. That
Looked like it.
That would have been a terrible way to lose a perfect game.
You talk about.
Oh, that would have been horrible.
It was Brendan Ryan who was trying to fight for his life instead of running to first. And later that season, though, Felix Hernandez had a perfect game. It was 1-0 against Tampa Bay on August the 15th. And they also had a combined no-hitter on June the 9th of that year.
They were a team of very little contact.
One way or the other. That one's just outside, a ball and 2 strikes.
It didn't miss by much, but it did hook around the plate.
One, 2. Tried to run it over the corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes. What was the closest you got to a no-hitter?
7 1/3.
Yep.
In Anaheim. Bert Campaneris on a 2-0 pitch. Rifled one by the left side of my head into center field. I've hated him since that time.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a little rancor in that story.
Just a little. And that was it. I didn't survive the inning after giving up the first hit.
They yanked you?
Yep.
Earl?
Mm-hmm.
After they hit?
I don't blame him. I'd have yanked me too.
You were done?
Yep. I was done.
I love your honesty about when you were toast. Second base, flat bounce. Gordon's got it, and Moncada is out. New Bleachers and Brews dates have been announced. Do you know that?
I do.
Get 1 bleacher seat and 2 beers. We scripted that for just $22. You got to be 21 and over with a valid ID. Bleachers and Brews, presented by Budweiser. To get your tickets, visit whitesox.com/brews.
Well, we could do that, or we could have a nice little fellow there to punch you when you came in the bleachers and call it really Bleachers and Brews.
BRUI.
Yes.
Yeah. That sounds really not like a great package.
It's only $22. Got to take them while you can.
Get it for your enemies. Bleachers and Brews.
Yomer's the man that started it off last inning. Hernandez tried to sneak a fastball by him. He dumped it into center field, and then things picked up from there.
And another hit for Sanchez, who now has 8 multi-hit games in his last 20. And we'd like to welcome all our viewers watching on Mulberry Cooperative Telephone in Clinton and Tippecanoe counties in Indiana, by the way.
Yomer takes that one right back up the middle. 2 for 3 today.
You been to Tippecanoe County?
I have not. I've been to Tyler.
2?
And yes, but never Tippecanoe.
Ah. We need to have a barnstorming tour of Steve Stone in the Midwest before next season.
Let's see, when can we storm those barns?
I'm thinking right before spring training.
That's a nice time to do that.
Yeah. We'll start in South Dakota, go north. But again, because
because we're trying to get to summer, right? That's the heavy winter months. Snow has been happening. We'll have you wear summer clothes. So shorts, t-shirt, and we'll make our way through the upper Midwest to begin.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
You start it. Let me know where you are, and I'll meet you there.
2-0 on Jose, who was hit by a pitch and scored in the fourth.
Well, if in fact one swing will turn this around for Jose, it'd be a nice time to start it here. Dan brought his glove and made a nice play. Very excited fan.
A young Dan Wilson.
There it is. And that young man is the beneficiary of the other fellow bringing his glove. And that one did get a piece of Baker.
Man.
Yeah, he's a big man, and quite obviously a bigger man with a bigger target is going to get hit a lot. We'll watch it again. That got him off the right collarbone. Freitas telling him he might want to duck next time because you're wearing out that right arm.
You almost forget it can happen when you're standing back there, and then you take one, you take another one, and you think, time to go home. 2-2. When you umpired, you were behind the plate, right? It wasn't behind the mound or anything in the younger little leagues.
I was behind the plate.
Okay.
And enjoyed it for a bit.
Until?
Oh, a few different things. One with the foul balls that hit the overhang of the backstop and then bounced on my head. Those weren't too good.
Those can go straight down.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Wasn't good.
Two and two on Jose. Sox with a 4 spot in the fourth.
It's going to be one of those straight changes.
The homer was off.
Jose did a nice job of staying alive because that ball really disappeared.
Two and two. Pitch number 7 will have to wait.
Yomer started to take off and then realized that Felix had not released the baseball. So he made a wise and very quick decision to go back to the bag.
Standoff. Hernandez and Abreu. Almost hit him again. 3 and 2. You talked about his rhythm earlier, Felix Hernandez. That's gone.
He slowed it down, and he's right now searching for some answers as far as location for that fastball. Daniel Polka in the on-deck circle if Jose can keep it alive. Now Yomer will be going.
Foul third base side. Can never go wrong giving the ball to the kid.
No, I think it's a good plan. And as overpowering as Felix was early, that's how gettable he's been the last couple of innings.
Three and 2. Fouled away again. Just out of reach. Oh, little Kirk Gibson.
Very happy young fan.
Jose trying to size up King Felix. Yolmer runs. Downstairs, ball 4. Abreu on for the second time tonight. Well, Felix Hernandez, who's had a couple of seasons with ERAs in the 2.3s. He was at 2.14 4 years ago, 2.27 his Cy Young year 8 years ago. And this second and third time through has been rather treacherous tonight. On 1 strike. Breaking ball 0-2.
That was one of the better curveballs that Felix has thrown the last couple of innings, and the pen up and going. Jason Bradford.
Think he'll catch him?
He might.
0-2. Strike 3. Ball gets away. Polka gives himself up. Now he spikes the bat. He didn't know that he could run. Now he does. The realization wasn't great for the bat. And the inning's over. Final footage of Chuck Garfien. He'll join us from the studio after. Hey, Chuck, thank you. What we didn't know is you've actually done that. So very close to actual file footage here in Seattle. A great wilderness destination.
Would he have possibly stayed up that long, or would he be eaten by sharks at this point?
I think Chuck is way more proficient at outdoors things than you think.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I get that feeling that he's a little bit of a woodsman. Chuck Garfien, woodsman.
It's a new series. That'll be a good one. Talk Podcast Woodsman.
See if the pilot gets picked up. Denard Span. Strike 1. Former all-state wide receiver at Tampa Catholic High School. Blooper. Tim is underneath it, and there is out number 1 in the 5th. This summer, head to your favorite store and grab some cold Modelo Especial. Perfect to enjoy while watching the White Sox. While you're there, enter for a chance to win tickets to a White Sox game. No purchase necessary. Ends August 20th. Visit crownimportscontest.com for rules. Modelo, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
We've seen a lot of White Sox fans around the ballpark. They certainly are enjoying this weather. It's been spectacular for a couple of days.
You know, it's not been the year that anybody wants win-loss wise, although it was expected in a rebuild. But the one thing we can certainly say is Sox fans have still traveled heavily this season from what we've seen. As Tim is behind the bag, he's been busy tonight with the ground ball pitcher Covey on the mound, and 2 gone in the 5th.
That's 5 different chances for Tim. And he's handled them all well. So the ground balls continue, as do the outs in the infield continue. One real break the Sox got, and so did Dylan Covey, was when Segura tried to steal. With first and second and nobody out, tried to steal third base, gunned down. They went out of that inning empty. That was last inning. People don't remember Daniel Vogelbach was Kyle Schwarber before Kyle Schwarber. Was the Cubs draft pick who could really hit.
To left field. First ball to an outfielder. Delmonico squeezes out number 3. Mariners still don't have a hit through 5.
Cast AI powered by AWS, and it's line drive home run off the bat of Avi. Exit velocity 108.7 miles an hour. A line drive, so only 25-degree launch angle. Went approximately 418 feet. So Avi started off the scoring, and he will not face Felix Hernandez again because we got a new pitcher. It's Chasen Bradford coming in the ball game. He's been the right man in the right spot. He's 5-0, his ERA at 2.72. He's on for the 32nd time. Good control. Not overpowering, but as you can see, the numbers are very strong. So Hernandez goes 5 innings, gives up 4 runs, 3 of them earned on 5 hits, a couple of walks, and 7 strikeouts.
Ties a season high with those 7 strikeouts, but the Mariners, who are 20 games over 500, are somehow trying to track down Houston to stay out of that wild card affair. 5 games separated them as the day started today. But there's some thought that maybe Seattle, by virtue of all those 1 and 2-run victories, and their run differential might be ripe for the taking by Oakland. You see run differential of the playoff teams. If the season started today, the Mariners are the noticeable outlier. -4 run differential.
Well, Jerry DiPoto about this team, it says anybody that says we're as good with Cano out of the lineup as we are with him in is not paying attention to our ball club. He said we need his bat in the middle of this lineup to help protect the rest of the players. And he realizes that although he can't use him in the playoffs, he can use him to get to the playoffs, and they're going to do it, but not at second base every day. That's going to be D. Gordon. They'll play him at first. They'll use him as a DH, but they do want him back in this lineup.
It's a busy time right now for general managers because you're always, now with the advent of texts, there have been stories written about this. Rick Hahn has talked about it. There are some general managers, in fact, most I would say, that exclusively or predominantly do business until that last moment when you're going to solidify a deal by text.
Good way to do it.
Even with emojis, we've been told. Seriously, some guys traffic in emojis. General managers.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm partial to the occasional emoji myself.
If you don't like a deal, you send them the poop emoji.
Yeah, well, that's not something I was thinking about, but now that you've brought it up, okay.
One down for Narvaez. You've never used that one?
Not yet.
You didn't know it existed?
Oh, sure. I mean, I can look in that section, I guess.
One down for Omar, who takes a called strike. Narvaez 1 for 1. That's a Apocalypse Meow guy, maybe working on a deal.
You don't want to trade that cat, though.
No.
No.
Omar, since June the 10th, slugging percentage as a catcher, .672. Go away, everybody else. Omar is the king behind the plate.
It's been a real impressive run, and it's pretty much simultaneous with Kevin Smith coming up. Both catchers doing a great job, but Omar leading the pack in a number of different offensive categories.
On the ground, left side, well placed. Segura has a shot and does get the out.
Omar almost was able to beat out an infield hit, but Gene Segura was able to just nip at first base. This one in a great spot. Seager couldn't get to it. Segura can. And the throw to Vogelback, and they got him.
Omar now 1 for 2. And Garcia swings through the first pitch. Sox with a 3-run homer from Avi, then the error on Garcia's single. He tried to expand it to 2 bases and was thrown out after Gamel's error in center, which scored the 4th run. And this should be the end of the road for the top of the 6th. Couple of ground balls and a strikeout. Sox still hang on to the lead 4-zip.
White Sox Talk podcast featuring special guest Rick Hahn. Come out to Reggie's in the South Loop for this authentic fan event on Thursday, August 2nd. So for more information, visit NBCSportsChicago.com/event.
Maybe you can have your bachelorette party at the ballpark. Always fun.
That's a nice thing to do.
We have to get you a sash.
I'd take one of those. Back to my pageant days.
No follow-ups, please. Kobe, first pitch, ground ball to third. Sanchez on the case. One gone.
Dylan is back to the way he was before having that hip difficulty and some issues that put him on the shelf for a bit. He's thrown lots of ground balls. He's thrown strikes today. He's walked Haniger twice, and that's been it. And other than that, nary a hit. Pretty impressive performance so far, and he's leading 4-0.
Now the third time through the order.
And Yolmerin way close at third. Someone's going to make sure that if Pete Gordon's even thinking about bunting, it's not going to be toward third base.
Who does he think he is, Ben Davis?
He's in really close. Nah, no Ben Davis.
The unwritten rules.
But that was a 2-0 game in the 8th inning. And I do believe that you have to get the tying run to the plate before you can think about tying up the game. So I thought Bob Brenly might have been inaccurate in his assessment of that bunt.
Play to
Still
win.
good.
Up the middle, base hit. First hit for the Mariners comes after 5 1/3.
So it's official. You cursed him.
You just said nary a hit.
Yes. But that's different than saying there was no hits through 5. D. Gordon goes back up the middle, and that is it. End of the no-hitter. Built on his 4 hits last night with his first tonight.
You're like Twitter Pandora. Here's Segura. First base side. Jose. The 2 down for Haniger, who's yet to make it out tonight. 2 walks.
Yeah, he's the only one that Dylan has not pitched well to at this point. But he is their man with some big power in the middle of this lineup.
Breaks in there for a strike, 0-1.
Dylan's been throwing the curveball for a strike. He's been throwing his sinker consistently for a strike, and that split change has also been in the zone.
One ball, one strike.
Well, the one thing that Dylan cannot afford to do here is get distracted by D. Gordon. If he steals, he steals, but you got to make sure you don't make a mistake to Haniger. That's the important guy in this equation.
2 outs, you basically forget Gordon's there.
If he takes off, he decides to take off, you got to let him go, but you can't have your attention diverted.
Two balls and a strike. Kobe to Haniger with Nelson Cruz next. Little bit low, 3-1. What do you throw him here on 3 balls and a strike?
whatever it is, I try to keep it low and away. I would prefer a fastball in this situation, but I want to make sure that if he hits it, he's going to take it to the opposite field. And that's what Omar has signaled, the fastball away.
Ran inside, and Haniger couldn't square it up. 3-2. Third full count for Haniger in front of Cruz tonight. Three balls, two strikes. Gordon will fly. Covey gets a ground ball to third. Yolmer at the line with the peg on target, a bullseye for out number 3. To the 7th we go. Dylan Covey's been awesome. X1 voice remote and get live team stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1. The Mariners go back into the bullpen for their second reliever tonight.
And he's the guy who gives them that left-handed balance out of the pen. It's James Pezos. On for the 38th time. He's 2-1. His ERA a touch above 2.5. They're talking about maybe adding another left-hander. In the meantime, they've got a pretty good one in Pezos.
Former 13th round pick of the Yankees back in 2012. And he will face Delmonico first, then Anderson and Moncada. Sox lead thanks to a 3-run home run from Avi Garcia, who's back off the disabled list. Ryan Lamar optioned down to AAA Charlotte, which won again tonight off 3 more hits from Eloy Jimenez. Game 2 of a 7-game road trip at the end of the All-Star break. Strike 1, Pazos to Delmonico. Nicky, who just turned 26 9 days ago while he was on his rehab assignment.
You'd have to figure it takes a while to get used to Major League pitching once again. Nicky was out a long time with that broken bone in his hand. Hopefully he'll find that stroke soon.
Seen a lot of left-handers in these first 2 games. Three of his 4 at-bats yesterday came against Wade LeBlanc, and now the left-hander here in the 7th.
0-2. There for strike 3. Soft catch by Freitas. Time to quiz Steve on his own career. It's called Sticks and Stone. Play along with us at home. Who did you strike out twice in your last start against Seattle? Is it the always present Julio Cruz, Richie Zisk, or funny nose glasses man himself, Tom Paciorek?
Well, I don't know exactly. I'll just say Tom Paciorek because I know he didn't hit me very well. I don't think I struck him out all that much, but I'd have to say Wimpy. Only because if Wimpy's name is up there, I always say Wimpy.
You do?
Yeah.
Because you like him so much?
Sure. He's a terrific guy.
Very likable fella.
He is that.
If there was a commercial to be done here in Seattle while he was here, he was going to do it. (2-0) on Anderson. We mentioned the Kingdome earlier, which has been imploded. There was also Sick Stadium, where the Pilots used to play for their year here, which evidently was not a treasure.
No, I wouldn't think so. Then moved to Milwaukee.
Yeah. Stadium was what, 10,000 capacity when it first opened for Major League Baseball?
It was a smaller city back then.
3 balls and no strikes. I had read at one point that when that stadium first opened, the visiting teams would shower at the hotel because the water pressure was so bad.
Well, that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, it seems welcoming.
Yeah.
3-0. Tim takes 3 balls and a strike.
Outfield straight away, as is the infield. The only difference is Gordon playing up the middle.
(3-1) to third base and Seager. All right, let's see if you were correct. Was it Wimpy who you struck out a couple of times? In your last start against Seattle, it was not.
Well, I still say Wimpy. That could be wrong.
It's not. It came along with horns.
Richie Zisk, huh?
Richie Zisk.
Okay.
Are you surprised?
No.
Is your mind blown?
Huh. Figured it had to be a right-hander. I don't think he ever struck out a left-hander twice.
In a career or in one game?
No, in one game.
I see.
Yeah.
2 down for Moncada, whose son Robinson is here. He was playing catch with the little one earlier today before the game. Fastball at 92, 2 strikes.
First one top of the strike zone, second one bottom of the strike zone, equally as effective.
Oh, and 2. He fights it off foul. Didn't want to chance it. Well, the Astros have won today 7-0, so the lead expands to 5.5 in the West. Mariners in danger of dropping a game to Houston, which beat the Angels. Oh, and 2. Fastball swung through it. 7 in a row retired by the Mariners. It begins with the head of the Players Union, Tony Clark, striking out against Wilson Alvarez. Then this drop third from Phil Nevin. He gets on base. Wilson strikes out Melvin Nieves with a curveball. That was nasty. Then Orlando Miller, fastball. See you later. 4 strikeouts, 1 inning for Wilson Alvarez.
How about that curveball that Wilson had? Pretty stout. As is the stuff that Dylan Covey is throwing tonight. This is his best game in a long time.
75 pitches deep through 6 innings and 1 hit.
Pretty amazing because although they're not the most prolific offense around, they get some guys in the middle of this order as well as Gordon and Segura. I mean, this is a good hitting group. They're going to be a whole lot better when Cano comes back, but they're pretty good now.
.258 batting average as a team for Seattle is 7th best in baseball.
And they got some guys that can put a charge into it. So just a masterful performance by Dylan Covey. This was the Dylan we saw when he came back from the minor leagues this year. The one with a moving 95-6.
Nobody up in the bullpen, so this is his game right now.
He's only at 78 pitches, so not only has he thrown very effectively, but he's kept it to a minimum. He has 2 walks to Haniger, the base hit by Gordon, 1 error by Yolmer, and that's been it.
Last time Dylan Covey threw more than 100 pitches was back on May the 23rd. Almost hard to believe. A 7-inning 1-run against Baltimore. One-two to third. Sanchez snares it. 1 gone. Beautiful play by Yolmer.
Well, you're not going to see him hit too much harder than that. As Cruz got every ounce of this, it's on 1 hop, and Yolmer doing the wise choice, which is bailing out a bit on that one. There's no way in the world he could get to his right even a step. That ball was hit so hard. And Nelson Cruz robbed of a 2-base hit by Yolmer.
.113.9 off the bat.
Yeah, not surprising. It thought it was going to go through his glove for a second there.
Yolmer in his spare time, a breakdancing instructor, it seems.
Well, also what they usually yell at you from the dugout is charge those.
Two balls and no strikes on Seager, who's 0 for 2. Well, this is a big run of games for Seattle with just 3 on the road in the next 2 weeks. So if they're going to trumpet themselves as a contender for the division, it would likely have to start very soon, like now.
Well, the one thing that they are done with is the East, and that's usually a good thing. And after the Sox leave town, they will be done with the Central, which for them is not a good thing because right now they're 22-8 against the Central. So they won't see the East, they won't see the Central anymore, and they will play within their division. They have a whole bucket full of games with the Astros, and you know, who knows if you can catch them or not. They believe that they can.
Locked in left side. Nicky Delmonico has now caught 2 balls tonight.
Let's take a look at the high-speed action powered by Xfinity, and it's the night of Dylan Covey with a little help from his defense. So Dylan with a lively fastball and some great defense. Yolmer with an outstanding play there, and Dylan Covey is in command. He's got a 4-run lead, and he's 2 outs into the 7th inning.
How many times in baseball history, as Avi goes back on this one, I was going to say, has somebody accounted for more home runs than balls he's touched defensively as an outfielder? That's his first ball all night. The Tampa Bay Rays trying to stay afloat. Joey Wendell from second base. Oh, sleight of hand. He chopped it to first.
Not bad. I would say that's pretty good.
That's a winner.
Yeah, that's a winner. And we got Nick Vincent coming in the ball game on for the 33rd time. He's 3-2. His ERA touch above 4 at 4.28. There you look at the rest of the numbers. And he inherits a 4-run deficit.
On this starry night in Seattle, he'll face Sanchez, Abreu, and Polka. Beautiful evening in the Pacific Northwest. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti, our entire crew. Thanks for joining us as the moon overlooks our baseball affair this evening.
Beautiful night, great temperatures. And when the sun is shining, just a gorgeous place to be this time of year.
Yolmer Sanchez takes a strike. So Bradford 1 inning, Pazos 1 inning. Neither gave up a base runner. Got into his kitchen that time, and Seager. Hey, it's Marvel Superhero Night at the Park Saturday, July 28th, a week from today, as the Sox take on the Blue Jays, 6:10 p.m. Be one of the first 12,000 fans to take home a White Sox Iron Man bobblehead. Get your tickets at whitesox.com today. Who's your favorite superhero?
I like Never Pay Retail Man. He's a superhero to me.
An enduring member of the Steve Stone pantheon of great people. Never Pay Retail Man. Hey,
yes.
Has he ever been seen in the same room as you?
Well, we're working that out.
1-1 to Jose, who's been on twice so far tonight.
In the meantime, he'd give certainly that base on balls and getting hit, although he did score a run, for one solidly hit base hit.
Well, he's solidly hit again, but not with the bat, with the ball. Second hit by pitch for Jose.
This one didn't get much of him either, so if you're going to get hit twice, this is the best way to do it. Jose's on first base. He gives him the double fist pump, saying, okay, I know it doesn't look good, but I've been on base 3 times. And that one got a good piece of Freitas on its way off the arm of Jose.
Good news for Jose, by the way. He's now 9th place all time in White Sox history, being plunked. 65 career. He just passed Chet Lemon.
And there it is. Yeah. There you go. See, you're going to get hit. You get on base a few times, and Cricket Wireless.
It's our Cricket Smile.
Do they serve those up in the left field bleachers, what you're telling me?
No, those are fried grasshoppers, not crickets or smiles. They do have them, though.
Could you get like a cricket every 2 or 3 grasshoppers yields 1 cricket?
It's a strange exchange rate. I'll check into it tomorrow when we split some.
Oh, absolutely.
You wouldn't eat fried grasshopper on television?
No. I wouldn't eat it anywhere.
It's a sequel to Green Eggs and Ham.
No, I will tell you that there's a tremendous amount of protein in those little critters.
Interesting knowledge base you have. In the air, center field. Sounded like a broken bat. Gamble on the charge. Does get there. And out number 2. All right, let's take a look at the Verizon projected starters. Day baseball coming up tomorrow. It's Lopez versus Gonzalez.
Marco Gonzalez has been very good. Everything about him has been good. He's a mainstay in that rotation, and we will see him tomorrow. Yet another left-hand pitcher, so Seattle's got a bunch of them, giving Yoan Moncada a chance to swing from the right side. And here's a guy that's been really swinging it from the right side when he's healthy.
Avi, a 3-run homer in the 4th, accounting for 75% of the runs tonight. And Gonzalez, if you remember the name, it's likely because you saw him throw 6 scoreless against the Sox to 8 strikeouts back on April the 24th. That's there for a strike, 0-2. Strike 3, 11 strikeouts for the Mariners. Dylan Covey has tied a career high through 7 innings. He's shutting out Seattle. Should be a great time at Reggie's. The first one was outstanding. There was karaoke afterward. And Rick Hahn seemingly might be a possibility to participate in post-podcast karaoke.
Can never get too much of that.
Dylan Covey tonight. What's different, Steve?
He's been much more aggressive. He's thrown everything in the zone, and he hasn't really taken his time. I mean, he's gotten the ball. He's throwing it. He's got a good rhythm. Omar has kept him in that rhythm, and he continues to pound the strike zone, which is usually what happens when a pitcher is having a good night. He's got confidence in his stuff, and he seemed to have confidence very early. He did walk Haniger in the first inning, but he went through 5+ without giving up a hit.
Only hit allowed, D. Gordon, with 1 out in the 6th.
Pen up and going. It is Xavier Cedeno.
Second base, Moncada, for round number 1. MLB at Bat is your #1 White Sox app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get White Sox home screen icons and features like the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. A must-have if you're a baseball aficionado.
That is a great app for all things baseball. I mean, you can literally find out anything. If you missed a game, you can see that. You can see an inning, you can see a pitch, you can see anything you want to see and get all the information you need. It's just a great app for a true baseball fan.
Vogelback's got a little Bob Hamlin in him.
Well, he's strong. There is no doubt about that.
Oh, 2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Covey with punch out number 4 and 2 gone in this 8th.
Here's a straight change. It's his split change, and it works really well. Nice stop by Omar. Puts a tag on him, and quickly 2 up, 2 down here in the 8th. Don Cooper has to be ecstatic with this performance tonight, because this is the Dylan Covey that we saw as soon as he came back from the minor leagues. Been a spectacular outing tonight.
Mariners are going to pinch hit with Herman. So they've got the left-hander, and Coop making the phone call. We'll see if Cedeno does come in. Gordon next. And he drops in a strike. So Herman, the reserve catcher, in for Freitas, who grounded out twice to third base. Fouled away 0-2. You said it. Dylan Covey, very aggressive, even late.
But look, even if your stuff is not good, this is the way you have to pitch. You have to go right at hitters. If they're going to hit you, they're going to hit you. Just don't put them on base ahead of the base hits. And tonight, he seemingly had great confidence coming into the ball game.
Strike 3 called. He kicked the inside corner. Dylan Covey, a superb career best start.
Friday night, the Blackhawks convention takes center stage on NBC Sports Chicago, and it all starts at 5 with live coverage of the opening ceremonies, followed by a special on-location edition of Sports Talk Live. You can also stream it all on the NBCSportsChicago.com. And we've got a new pitcher. And there is Ronis Elias. On for the 11th time. He's 2-0. His ERA 2.33. There you look at the rest of the numbers. Control has not been great. Right-handers haven't done anything with him. And he comes on to pitch the 9th inning.
So he started with the Mariners. He was signed in 2011. He was then traded by Seattle to Boston December of 2015 in the Wade Miley deal with Carson Smith. And then he came over in a deal April 23rd of this year back from Boston.
Well, if they liked him the first time, they'll probably like him a lot more this time.
Spoken as somebody who's made 2 tours with a team.
Yeah. If you make 2 tours, they probably want you back, as Chris Herman, who came out to pinch hit, stays in the game to catch.
Omar 1 for 2, and he is part of the subject of our random White Sox leaderboard. Best July batting average since 1908. Chick Gandil, 455. Royce Sievers was 3rd at 447. Omar 4th right now, 444. Best July since 1908 for the Sox. And Omar builds on it. Base hit. 2 for 3.
2 for 3 and just barely was thrown out last time. So things continue to roll along for Omar. Even the lefty-lefty matchup, he wins it.
Royce Sievers, by the way, that year in 1960, he was on the bench because of Ted Kluszewski. Kluszewski got hurt, and then Sievers put up mammoth numbers.
He was a good hitter.
There's a strike to Garcia. Mariners in the 9th inning will have the top of the order: Gordon, Segura, and Haniger. So you'd prefer to add on here. Elias to Garcia. So right before the break, seemed like everybody was in need of the All-Star break because the bullpens were taxed, and then suddenly you come out of the break, and if you get a couple of good starts, you almost have to push guys into the game just to get them work so they don't erode.
Well, that's what Scott Service is doing here. He's gone through most of his bullpen, trying to get them all an inning. But when you really do need them in what for them will be critical games, they're very good in one-run games. That's been one of the trademarks of Scott Service's tenure as a manager. This is despite the fact that he never managed anywhere before he got this job. So it's worked out very well for Scott Service and Jerry Dipoto, the general manager.
To left field and Span for round number 1. The Xfinity Kid Zone overlooks left field and is accessible from all levels of Guaranteed Rate Field. It features batting and pitching cages, base running areas, and skill instruction from Chicago White Sox Training Academy coaches. And while you're there, check out the latest Xfinity technology, including the X1 platform, which, as we told you earlier, will change the way you watch TV. What's that?
Good
Moose?
question.
Is that a moose thing?
Well, their mascot is a moose, but I don't think that's a moose.
I didn't think so either. Is that Never Pay Retail Man's sidekick?
Well, I don't think so, but
The wholesaler?
I know if he paid retail for that hat, he paid too much.
This one tagged to center field. Gamble's back, and he won't get there. It's off the wall. Omar chugs into third. Nicky Delmonico with his first hit since coming off the DL.
He tattooed that one. That got over the head of Gamble in a heartbeat. And he's going to leave for a pinch runner. It's going to be Adam Engel. So Nicky's night is done. He gets a low fastball, puts a charge into it, and no chance at all for Gamble in center field.
That's the kind of contact we saw last year from Nicky.
Yeah. Yes, it was. And Mel Stottlemyre to the mound once again. Jordan Baker is going to go out to break it up.
And he's having varying degrees of success breaking it up. Adam Engel making acquaintances with D. Gordon now that he's on his base. Curveball outside for ball one. So 2-0 on Anderson, who's looking for his first hit of this series.
Big advantage here because you've got the infield in at all four positions. Although Segura is not at the cut of the grass. You don't really have to be in all that far because Narvaez doesn't have much speed.
Right field, long way to go for Haniger toward the line. He makes the catch. Omar tags Haniger with a bullet. And Omar got around it. He is safe. The Sox do get a run. Throw was just far enough offline that Omar could dance out of the way, and he waltzes in for a run.
Chris Herman had a most unusual approach to trying to put this tag on because it's a decent throw by Haniger, who's got a very good arm. Omar's going to test him. The throw is up the line a touch. And then Herman can't get either play. He's got no baseball there, so the tag is useless, and then tries to get it at third base and can't do it there.
Moncada for out number 3. Sox get one more run. It's a 5-0 game going bottom 9.
Someone who's with the team through thick and thin and never misses a game. Do you have what it takes? Because if you do, enter at NBCSportsChicago.com/White Sox AF. Adam Engel stays in the game. He's going to play center field. Dylan Covey still in the game into the 9th inning. Leary shifts over to left field with Nicky Delmonico gone from the ball game.
Dylan Covey looking for the first complete game of his career. This year and last year, the Sox have not had a complete game.
Well, this seems like an ideal time for it, although pitch number 99 on the way, and you got a very tough hitter. Get by Gordon, you're in pretty good shape to get through the inning.
.100 exactly, and you see the most taxing inning was 17 in the fourth.
That's really, I mean, that's really quite a performance. When the most pitches you have in any one inning is 17, you're usually going to do yourself a pretty good job.
In the air, Garcia for out number 1. Four outs to the outfield, 1 hit to the outfield. That's it.
That's it. Little ground ball through the middle by D. Gordon in the 6th inning.
It took Garcia moving from center to left to get his first out of the game. Just an outstanding night for Dylan Covey. The lone hit, a D. Gordon single with 1 out in the 6th. Down goes Segura.
You know, Don Cooper would love to see him finish up this ball game.
Up the middle a hit. Segura is on, and Haniger will bat.
Here comes Ricky Renteria, and that is going to be it. At the 105 pitch mark, far and away the most pitches that Dylan has thrown in recent vintage. Joakim Soria comes in the ball game.
And for the Sox fans who've traveled
What a night for Dylan Covey. 8 1/3 innings, just 2 hits. He walked 2, fanned 5. His responsibility is standing at first base. And Joakim Soria comes in the ball game. He's going to face Haniger and Cruz, and that's all he wants to face.
Towering fly ball left field. Garcia back at the warning track and the wall. Garcia
makes the catch.
Made the play. Oh, he pulled it in. What a play by Garcia to save the shutout.
That was a towering fly ball off the bat of Haniger, and the ball just hung up. Looked like it was going to go. Leary back. Goes up high over the wall and makes the catch. What a play that is. He goes up about as high as he could go up, and Soria can't believe it. Now he's thinking about the double play to end the game.
Joakim Soria has pitched in 611 big league games, and he looked like a kid in a candy store right there.
Well, Leary pulled one back for him.
Cruz swings through it. Segura takes second base.
Time now for the Lakeside Bank call to the pen. Lakeside Bank, it's about time. It's about time for Soria to lock it down. On for the 38th time. There you look at some pretty good numbers. 2.75 ERA coming in.
One and one. Now 2 balls and a strike. Dylan Covey, 8 1/3, the longest outing of his career by 4 outs. Nasty breaking ball, 2-2.
That one locked the knees of Cruz on its way by.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Will it be a shutout? Yes, indeed. Sox win. Dylan Covey with a jewel tonight and a 5-zip victory to even the series.
What a job by Dylan Covey. He started out very aggressively. He stayed that way. Leary made just a phenomenal catch to preserve the shutout. And the Sox even the series at 1-1 with the rubber game coming up tomorrow afternoon in the finale here in Seattle.
So Dylan Covey, look, his last couple of starts, he gives up a bunch of runs. Last time out against St. Louis, 5 innings, 4 earned. Time before that, 3 2/3, 6 earned, then 8 earned the start before that against the Rangers. This was the guy we saw earlier this year tonight.
And just like we promised, it's time for the Miller Lite Hold True moment. And it's the night of Dylan Covey, and it was spectacular from start to finish. He had it all going early, and he kept it going into the 9th inning. So the last 5 starts he had really struggled. The ERA was up over 11, but no evidence of that here tonight. In Seattle, Dylan Covey was absolutely brilliant. Deserved the win, got it, couldn't go the distance, wanted to do that. But came very close to doing just that with a little help from Joakim Soria.
He's downstairs to join us. Dylan Covey, congratulations on a great night.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So when did you know this was going to be this type of start for you?
Probably into the 4th inning. I think that I was getting deep into counts early on, and then once the 4th inning hit, I think things just started to click for me, and just threw the ball over the plate and let them hit it into the ground. That's my game, and they were just hitting it right to people.
Dylan, what was your best pitch tonight?
Fastball.